You either marry Samuel Raymond or you walk out with nothing. The lawyer's words hit Isabella Walker like a slap in a room full of witnesses. The conference table at the Manhattan law firm is polished enough to mirror her shaking hands, but it cannot hide the tremor in her fingers. Across from her, the notary waits with a stamp. Behind her, executives and distant relatives hold their breath, hungry for a crack in the Walker air. Isabella stands because she refuses to be seen sinking. Read that again, she says, voice tight. Say the condition out loud, so everyone can hear how insane it is. The lawyer flips a page and keeps his tone neutral. Within 3 months of the date of death, Miss Walker must enter a legal marriage with Samuel Raymond. The marriage must remain valid and continuous for 1 full year. If the condition is not met, the estate is transferred to the listed charities. A low wave of whispers rolls through the room. The Walker fortune, decades of ruthless deals and glittering towers, reduced to a wedding contract. Isabella looks down at the will. Her grandfather's signature sits at the bottom like a final command. She can almost hear him saying her name, steady and careful, the way he did when he warned her not to trust smiles. 3 days ago he is dead. The doctors call it an accident, a sudden collapse at a charity dinner. The news anchors say it is a tragedy. The family says it is fate. But Isabella remembers the last month. Her grandfather changes his will twice. He starts asking questions about Samuel Raymond, his oldest enemy in New York real estate. He calls Isabella late at night and says, "Watch the ones who stand closest, because they stand where the knife reaches first." Isabella swallows hard. Her throat tastes like metal. Is this some kind of joke? Someone mutters, "It is genius." Another voice answers. Isabella snaps her head toward the speakers. Marcus Petro, her grandfather's adopted son and a company vice president, sits with his hands folded, calm as a saint. He wears grief like a tailored suit. He gives her a gentle smile. "Your grandfather loved you. He is trying to protect you. Take the gift, Isabella." A gift. A cage. She turns back to the lawyer. "If I refuse, I lose everything." "You receive the personal items listed in Appendix C," the lawyer says. "And the rest is donated." Isabella feels the room tilt. The Walker Group, the penthouse, the private files, the leverage that keeps predators away. All of it gone with one refusal. The door opens. The sound is sharp, deliberate, like a gavel. Every head turns. Samuel Raymond walks in without apology. Black suit, black tie, eyes as cold as the Hudson in winter. He looks like the kind of man who wins wars by simply deciding he already has. Isabella has not seen him up close in years. She knows his name from headlines, from boardroom rumors, from her grandfather's bitter stories. The Raymond Group CEO. The man who nearly crushed Walker projects 3 times and smiled through every lawsuit. Samuel's gaze lands on her, and there is no warmth in it, only calculation. "I hear congratulations are in order," he says. The lawyer clears his throat. "Mr. Raymond, thank you for coming. This is a private probate meeting." Samuel ignores him. He takes a chair beside Isabella as if it is already his. "I accept a condition," he says. "We get married. We keep it clean. We keep it public. 1 year." The room explodes into whispers. Isabella stares at him. "Why would you agree to this?" Samuel leans closer, voice low enough that only she can hear. "Because your grandfather built this trap, and I am not walking away from it. Your family owes mine more than money. This is payment." Isabella's nails bite her palm. "You are using me. Do not flatter yourself." Samuel says. "You are a tool, a very expensive one." Marcus Petro watches them like a man watching a match reach dry grass. Isabella forces herself to breathe. She cannot show fear. Not here. Not in front of the people waiting for her to break. She turns to the lawyer. "If I marry him, I keep control of the Walker Group." "Yes," the lawyer says. "And if I divorce before a year is complete?" "The donation clause activates," the lawyer says. "And the marriage is considered a failure of condition." Isabella feels her grandfather's warning settle in her bones. "Watch the ones who stand closest." She looks at Marcus again. He smiles, still gentle. Still patient. Then she looks at Samuel. His jaw is tight, anger held under ice. A year. A public cage. A private war. Isabella lifts her chin. Fine. She says. I will marry you. The room goes silent, then buzzes again, a hive awakened. Samuel's mouth curves in something that is not a smile. Good. He says. Do not mistake this for mercy. Isabella signs the acknowledgement form with a steady hand. She writes her name like a blade. As the meeting ends, Marcus steps close enough that she catches the scent of his cologne, warm and familiar, almost comforting. Almost. I am proud of you. He says softly. You are doing what must be done. Isabella looks him straight in the eye. So am I. She says. She walks out of the law firm beside her enemy, her future wrapped in legal paper. Outside, the city roars. Taxis scream. People hurry with coffees and dreams. Isabella thinks of her grandfather's last phone call and the way his voice breaks on one word. Survive. She promises herself she will. And she will find out who made him die. The wedding is not a celebration. It is a transaction wearing white fabric. A private chapel outside the city, stained glass glowing with cold morning light. No crowd. No friends. No laughter. Just cameras invited for proof, and lawyers waiting like vultures for signatures. Isabella stands at the altar in a simple dress that costs more than most cars. Samuel stands beside her like a statue carved from refusal. The officiant speaks about love. Isabella hears only the scratch of pens in the back row. When the vows end, Samuel slides a ring onto her finger with a grip that is too firm. His touch is a warning. The flash of cameras is relentless. Isabella keeps her face calm. She smiles because she knows how to smile when her life is on fire. After, a black car takes them to Samuel's estate, a fortress of glass and stone in a gated pocket of quiet. The place feels designed to keep people out, and to keep prisoners in. A housekeeper shows Isabella to a guest suite. Guest. Not wife. She drops her bag on the bed and stares at the ceiling. She can do this. 1 year. She can pretend. The door opens without a knock. Samuel steps inside, shuts it, and leans against it as if he has decided the air belongs to him. His eyes rake over her dress, the pearls at her throat, the calm mask she wears. Take it off. He says. Isabella does not move. Excuse me. The performance is over. Samuel says. You can stop acting like you are at a charity gala. Isabella holds his gaze. And you can stop acting like you own me. Samuel pushes off the door and closes the distance in 3 strides. He catches her chin, fingers hard, tilting her face up. The grip hurts. The message is louder than pain. Your grandfather destroyed my father. He says. He took contracts, he crushed lenders, he left my family bleeding. My mother died while your family built towers on the bones. Isabella's heart pounds, but she keeps her voice steady. I am sorry for your mother, but I am not my grandfather, and I do not believe he is the devil you want him to be. Samuel's eyes flash. Of course you do not. You grew up protected. You do not see what you break when you win. Isabella does not flinch. Then tell me what you want. Revenge? Fine. Use me. But I will not be your victim. Samuel releases her chin with a shove that sends her a half step back. He laughs once, short and bitter. You have a purpose. He says. You are my revenge tool. You will smile in public, stand at my side, and remind the world that the Walker name can be dragged into my house and made to obey. Isabella's jaw tightens. You think humiliating me fixes your past? It proves I can take what your family guards. Samuel says. And it proves your grandfather is not untouchable even from the grave. Isabella watches him, cataloging every word. He hates her family, but his anger has shape. It has history. It has edges she can use. She takes a slow breath. This marriage is a contract. I will fulfill it, but I will also do what I need to do. Samuel's gaze narrows. What you need? My grandfather did not die by accident. Isabella says. She chooses the truth like a measured dose of poison. Something is wrong. People around him are lying. And I am going to find out who did it. For the first time, Samuel's expression shifts. The ice cracks. Not into sympathy, but into attention. You are chasing ghosts. He says. I am chasing a killer. Isabella answers. Samuel does not respond right away. His eyes flick toward the door, then back to her. The house is quiet, but he listens like a man trained to hear threats in silence. Finally, he says. Do not bring your mess into my house. Isabella lifts her ringed hand. Your house is my mess now. Samuel's mouth tightens. He turns away. You have that room. He says. I have mine. We do not share a bed. We share a headline. He opens the door, pauses, and looks back. And Isabella. He says. Do not fall in love with me. It would be pathetic. The door shuts. Isabella stands alone in the guest suite, heart racing, chin still aching. She walks to the window. Beyond the glass, the estate grounds stretch like a private kingdom. Somewhere in the distance, city lights smear into the night. She whispers to herself. 1 year. Then she adds, quieter. And the truth. The next morning, Isabella returns to the Walker Group Tower as Samuel Raymond's wife. Her new last name is a weapon, and everyone in the lobby feels it. Heads turn. Whispers follow. Some people look at her with pity. Others look at her with envy. Marcus Petro meets her near the elevators, smiling like a proud guardian. Isabella. He says warmly. You look radiant. She keeps her expression polite. Thank you. I am here to review the accounts my grandfather handled personally. Marcus's smile does not falter, but his eyes sharpen. Those accounts are complicated. You have been through a lot. Let me protect you from unnecessary stress. I am the heir. Isabella says. Stress is part of my job. Marcus rests a hand on her shoulder for a heartbeat too long. Of course, I only want what your grandfather wanted, your safety. Her grandfather wanted her safe. That is true. But he also wanted her awake. Isabella steps away. I will be in his old office. She says. The office smells like leather and cedar. The view of the skyline is the same as always, but the air feels emptier without her grandfather's presence. Isabella runs her fingers along the desk edge, remembering the way he used to tap a pen when he lied to people and smiled while doing it. She opens drawers. She checks locked cabinets. Most are empty, cleaned out by someone fast and thorough. A knock comes. Arthur Benson, the old family butler, slips inside. He looks out of place in the corporate tower, but his eyes are alert, his back straight. Miss Walker. He says quietly. Or should I say Mrs. Raymond? Isabella flinches at the sound of it. Just Isabella. She says. Did anyone see you come in? Arthur shakes his head. He pulls a small notebook from his coat. Your grandfather asked me to keep records. He says. Meetings, locations, names. He said if anything happened, I should give this to you. Isabella takes the notebook like it is a live wire. Why did he not give it to me himself? Arthur's face tightens. He tried. The night before he died, he said there were ears in the house. He said Marcus was getting bold. Isabella's pulse jumps. You think Marcus did it? Arthur hesitates. I think Marcus wanted control. Your grandfather would not give it. They argued, loudly. And after that, your grandfather stopped drinking from anything he did not pour himself. Isabella opens the notebook. Pages of dates and notes. One entry stands out, written in a rushed hand. Dinner with Marcus. Wine tastes strange. Stop. Another entry. Call Samuel. If I die, trust him. Isabella's breath catches. He wanted me to trust Samuel. Arthur nods. He believed Samuel could help you, even if Samuel hated him. Isabella closes the notebook. Her mind spins. Her grandfather forcing this marriage is not cruelty. It is strategy. A sound in the hallway. Voices. Footsteps. Arthur's eyes widen. Someone is coming. Isabella shoves the notebook into her bag. Go. She whispers. Arthur slips out through a side door. Isabella moves to the desk and pretends to review paperwork as Marcus enters with 2 assistants. Still working? Marcus says, his tone light. You should rest. The board meeting is tomorrow. We can handle the details. Isabella forces a smile. I want to understand what I own. Marcus glances toward her bag. Of course, but be careful, digging too deep can cut you. The thread is soft. That makes it worse. Later that evening, Isabella returns to Samuel's estate, exhausted and furious. The guards at the gate greet her with stiff respect. In the hallway, she hears voices from Samuel's study. She pauses outside the door. Samuel is on a call. His voice is low, controlled. No, I do not care what my mother thinks. Do not let her contact the board, not yet. A pause. Because Marcus Petro is not as clean as he pretends. I want everything you can find. Bank wires, foreign accounts, connections. Isabella's fingers tighten around her bag strap. Samuel is investigating Marcus. The door opens. Samuel looks up and sees her in the hall. His expression hardens, but the surprise is real. How long were you listening? He asks. Long enough. Isabella says. You are digging into Marcus. Samuel studies her. Why does that bother you? It does not. Isabella says. It confirms I am not insane. Samuel steps aside. Come in. Isabella enters his study. Dark wood, sharp lines, no softness. It smells like whiskey he does not drink and paper he does not forgive. Samuel closes the door. Tell me what you found. He says. Isabella pulls out Arthur's notebook and sets it on the desk. My grandfather kept records. She says. He suspected Marcus. He wrote that the wine tasted strange, and he wrote this. She flips to the page with the line about trusting Samuel. Samuel reads it. His jaw flexes. He wanted you to trust me. He says, voice flat. Did you know? Isabella asks. No. Samuel says. I hated him. I still do. But I also know Marcus Petro. He played both sides for years. He fed my father bad deals while pretending to be an ally. My father drowned in debt while Petro walked away smiling. Isabella's stomach knots. So we have the same enemy. Samuel looks at her for a long moment. Something changes in his eyes. Not kindness. Recognition. Be careful. He says. Petro does not lose gracefully. Isabella meets his gaze. Neither do I. Samuel reaches into a drawer and pulls out a card. This is my private investigator. He says. His name is Daniel Hart. He answers to me, not my company. If you need someone followed, call him. Isabella takes the card. Why are you helping me? Samuel's voice is rough. Because if Petro killed your grandfather, then the story I have been telling myself about the past is incomplete. And because Petro ruined my family before, I want his throat. Isabella holds the card and feels the first real shift in the air between them. A step closer, not out of love, but out of war. The shareholder meeting is supposed to be routine. It becomes a battlefield. The conference hall in the Walker Group Tower is packed with suits and sharp smiles. Reporters wait outside. Security is doubled. Marcus Petro stands at the front, confident, presenting a plan to assume interim control until Isabella proves she can lead. Isabella sits in the first row, calm, hands folded. Samuel sits beside her, a silent threat with a Raymond Group pin on his lapel. Cameras are not allowed inside, but the room still feels watched. Marcus speaks with practiced warmth. We all respect Isabella. He says. But grief is heavy. We should protect her from the burden of daily operations. A few board members nod. Isabella rises. Every head turns. Marcus pauses. Isabella. He says softly. This is not necessary. It is necessary. Isabella says. Her voice carries clear and steady. Because you are asking these people to give you what my grandfather refused to give you. Marcus smiles. That is an unfair accusation. Isabella lifts a folder. Then let us be fair. Let us look at the numbers. She opens the folder and slides copies down the table. These are internal audit summaries from the last 2 years. They show repeated transfers to shell companies tied to a private shipping warehouse in New Jersey. The shell companies are linked to Marcus Petro. The room stirs. Marcus's face tightens by a fraction. Those are false. He says quickly. Fabricated. Isabella keeps going. There are also communications between Marcus Petro and a foreign syndicate that uses that warehouse for illegal deals. These communications include dates and payment schedules. A board member scoffs. Where did you get this? Samuel speaks for the first time, his voice cutting through the noise. From my investigators. He says. And from a witness who is waiting outside. Marcus turns towards Samuel, anger flashing. This is Raymond Theater. Samuel stands. Call it whatever you want. He says. But the witness is a former associate of yours, a man who handled cash deliveries. He wants to cooperate. Marcus laughs, but it is forced. And you trust a criminal now? Samuel steps closer to the table. I trust leverage. He says. And he has enough to bury you. Isabella looks at the board members. My grandfather died after a private dinner with Marcus Petro. She says. The police called it a collapse, but the medical report has gaps. The security footage from the venue is missing. And Marcus Petro, who claims to love this family, pushed to take control before the funeral flowers wilted. The room goes colder. Marcus raises his hands. This is grief talking. Isabella is unstable. She is being manipulated by her new husband, who has every reason to destroy the Walker Group. Isabella takes a step forward. If Samuel wanted to destroy Walker, he could do it in court, like he tried before. He did not need a marriage. My grandfather forced this marriage for a reason. He knew Marcus was the real threat. Marcus's eyes flicker, and in that flicker Isabella sees panic. A board member clears his throat. Mr. Petro, can you explain the transfers? Marcus's smile cracks. They are legitimate expenses. He says. Consulting services. Isabella slides another paper forward. Then explain why the consulting firm has no employees and shares an address with a warehouse used for illegal shipments. The room erupts. Questions. Accusations. A storm Marcus cannot charm away. Security moves toward Marcus. The general counsel whispers into a phone. A vote is called. Within minutes, Marcus Petro is suspended pending investigation. He stands very still, eyes locked on Isabella, and his voice drops into a hiss meant only for her. You think you have won. He says. You have no idea what you have started. Isabella does not blink. I started nothing. She says. You did when you decided my grandfather was in your way. Marcus leaves under escort, his mask finally gone. After, the hall empties slowly. Board members speak in tight clusters. Arthur Benson appears near the back, eyes wet with relief. Isabella stands near the window, hands shaking now that the adrenaline fades. Samuel comes up beside her. He does not touch her, but his presence is solid. You did well. He says. Isabella exhales. It is not over. It is never over. Samuel says. Then quieter. He will come for you. Isabella looks at him. Will you let him? Samuel's eyes hold hers, fierce and honest in a way she did not expect. No. He says. Not anymore. The words hit her harder than any insult. Samuel clears his throat, as if annoyed by his own sincerity. Do not read into it. He says. Protecting you protects my interests. Isabella almost laughs. Of course. She says. But when she walks out of the tower that day, she notices Samuel stays half a step behind her, eyes scanning the street. Not as a captor. As a guard. Marcus Petro does not wait. 2 days after his suspension, Isabella finds a message on her phone from an unknown number. Arthur Benson is in my hands. Come alone to the old docks. Bring the evidence. No police. No Samuel. A photo follows. Arthur on a chair, bruised, eyes open but dazed. A rope around his wrists. Isabella's blood turns to ice. She calls Samuel immediately. He answers on the first ring. What happened? Isabella reads the message aloud. There is a pause, then Samuel's voice goes low and sharp. He is baiting you. I know. Isabella says. But Arthur will die if I do nothing. We do not do nothing. Samuel says. We do it smart. Where? An old dock. Isabella says. He did not name it. Samuel says. Send me the number. Send me the photo. Do not reply. I will trace it. Within minutes, Samuel has his investigator on it. He calls back. Pier 17. He says. An abandoned freight pier near Red Hook. Isabella grabs her coat. I am going. You are not going alone. Samuel says. He said no police, no you. Isabella says. If he sees you, he will cut Arthur's throat. Samuel's voice tightens. If you go alone, he will cut your throat too. Isabella closes her eyes. I have to try. Samuel's breath is harsh. Fine. He says. We do it his way on the surface, but I will be there and the police will be close, not visible, hidden. You will wear a tracker. You will keep your phone on. You will not play hero. Isabella hears the fear under his control and it shocks her. I do not want you dead. Samuel adds as if the words offend him. Do you understand? Isabella swallows. Yes. Night falls and the city turns into wood asphalt and neon. Isabella drives to the docks in a plain car, no security detail, no noise. Her stomach churns with every red light. Pier 17 is a shadow against dark water. Rusted cranes loom like skeletons. The air smells of salt and oil. A single floodlight burns near a warehouse door. Two men stand outside with their hands in their pockets. They watch Isabella approach. Inside, the warehouse is cold and empty except for a chair in the center. Arthur Benson is tied to it, head slumped. Marcus Petro stands behind him, knife in hand, smiling like he is hosting a dinner. Isabella. Marcus says. You came, how noble. Isabella steps closer, careful. Let him go. Marcus laughs. You sound like you have power. You do not. Isabella lifts a folder. You want this? Marcus's eyes gleam. Yes. Every copy, every file, every little piece of paper that makes you feel brave. Isabella holds the folder tight. You release Arthur first. Marcus presses the knife to Arthur's throat. Arthur groans, trying to lift his head. I do not negotiate with children. Marcus says. You hand it over or he bleeds. Isabella's hands shake. She hates him. She hates how calm he is. She hates that her grandfather let this man into their family. She forces her voice steady. If you kill him, you lose leverage. You lose time. The police are already watching you. Marcus's smile widens. No, they are not. Your husband is too proud to bring them. And my friends have eyes everywhere. Isabella takes one step closer. Marcus, you killed my grandfather. Marcus tilts his head. I removed an obstacle. He says. He refused to sign power over. He refused to step aside, so he died. Simple. The confession lands like a stone. Isabella's vision blurs with rage. She throws the folder forward. Marcus catches it, eager. He flips it open and his smile falters. The papers inside are blank. Isabella's voice is cold. I did not bring you the real evidence. Marcus's face contorts. You little snake. He raises the knife. A gunshot cracks through the warehouse. Marcus jerks, the blade slicing air instead of flesh. He stumbles back, screaming. Chaos erupts. Men rush in from the shadows. Shouts. Flashing lights. Sirens in the distance. Samuel appears at the side door, moving fast, eyes locked on Isabella. He grabs her arm and yanks her behind a stack of crates. What did I say about playing hero? He snarls. Isabella's breath is ragged. Arthur. Samuel signals and two officers rush to cut Arthur free. Marcus, bleeding from the shoulder, tries to run. He shoves a man aside and lunges toward Isabella with wild eyes. Samuel steps in front of her without thinking. The knife drives forward. It sinks into Samuel's side. Isabella hears a sound that is half scream, half denial. Samuel. Samuel grunts, grabs Marcus's wrist and slams him into the concrete. Officers pile on. The knife clatters away. Samuel sways, blood darkening his shirt. Isabella catches him. Her hands press against the wound, useless, shaking. Stay with me, she says. Stay with me. Samuel's face is pale, but his eyes are sharp, stubborn. Do not cry. He breathes. It is annoying. Isabella lets out a broken laugh that turns into a sob. Paramedics rush in. Arthur is carried out, alive. Marcus is dragged away, cursing, eyes burning. As Samuel is lifted onto a stretcher, he grips Isabella's hand. You were right, he says through clenched teeth. He is the killer. Isabella leans close. I know. She whispers. And we are going to finish this. The hospital smells like antiseptic and exhaustion. White lights hum overhead. Machines beep with indifferent rhythm. Samuel survives surgery. The doctor tells Isabella the knife missed critical organs by inches. She nods as if she expected that. Inside, she feels like she is still at the dock, hands covered in blood that will not wash away. She sits by Samuel's bed through the night. Arthur Benson sleeps in another room, bruised but alive. Police officers move in the hallway, speaking in low voices. In the early morning, Samuel wakes. His eyes open slowly, unfocused at first, then sharp when he sees her. You look terrible. He rasps. Isabella leans forward. You got stabbed and you are insulting me. Samuel's mouth twitches. It keeps things normal. Isabella swallows hard. Why did you step in front of me? Samuel closes his eyes for a moment. Instinct. He says. And because I am tired of people dying for Petro. Isabella grips the bed rail. My grandfather. She whispers. Samuel's eyes open again and the ice is gone. I am sorry. He says. The words are simple, but they change the air. Isabella blinks fast. Do not die on me. She says. I did not sign up to be a widow before the year ends. Samuel gives a weak laugh that turns into a wince. So it is about the will. He says. Isabella leans closer, voice steady but soft. It started that way, it is not only that now. Samuel studies her. His gaze is bare, stripped of performance. What is it now? He asks. Isabella takes a slow breath. Now it is about finishing what he started, and about choosing what happens after the year. For the first time, I want a choice. Samuel's hand shifts on the sheets, reaching, hesitant. Isabella takes it. A nurse walks in, sees them, and pretends not to notice. Later that day, detectives bring updates. Marcus Petro, faced with evidence and witness testimony, begins to talk. He tries to bargain. He tries to blame others. It does not work. The lab confirms toxin residue in a glass from the charity dinner. Security footage is recovered from a backup server Petro forgot existed. It shows Petro swapping drinks when no one looks. The case tightens like a noose. Victoria Raymond arrives at the hospital in a suit so severe it could cut glass. She walks into the room and sees Isabella holding Samuel's hand. Her eyes flash. So this is what my son sacrificed himself for. She says. Isabella stands. He saved my life. She answers. I did not ask him to. Victoria's jaw tightens. You should not have been there. Samuel shifts in bed. Mother. He says, voice rough. Stop. Victoria looks at him. The anger in her face wavers, replaced by fear she cannot hide. She steps closer to the bed, fingers hovering over his shoulder as if she is afraid to touch him. You could have died. She whispers. Samuel holds her gaze. I almost did. He says. And I would do it again, because Petro is the enemy, not Isabella. Victoria's eyes turn to Isabella, searching, evaluating. You are a walker. She says. I am. Isabella answers. And my grandfather forced this marriage because he knew Petro would come for me. He believed Samuel could protect me. He believed Samuel would want Petro punished. Victoria's lips part, then press together. She looks down as if seeing the past in a new shape. I helped Petro. She admits, voice stiff. Not with murder, but with access, with introductions. I thought I was protecting Samuel from your family. I was wrong. Samuel closes his eyes. You were. He says quietly. Victoria's shoulders sag. Tell me what you need. She says. Isabella nods once. Testify about Petro's meetings. About the pressure he applied, about the money he offered. Victoria looks away, then back. I will, she says. Days pass. Samuel heals. Isabella meets with prosecutors. Arthur provides his notes and testifies about the arguments, the strange taste in the wine, the fear in her grandfather's voice. Marcus Petro is charged with murder, kidnapping, fraud, and embezzlement. The courtroom is packed. Cameras flash. Petro tries to smile, tries to play victim. Then the video plays. His hand on the glass. His face calm. His lie exposed. The verdict is life in prison. Isabella watches Petro led away in cuffs. He twists his head toward her, hatred carved into his features. This is not the end. He spits. Isabella's voice is steady. It is for you, she says. Outside the courthouse, the winter air bites. Isabella stands with Samuel, Arthur, and Victoria. The city looks the same, but it feels different, like a building after a fire, still standing, cleaned of smoke. Samuel squeezes Isabella's hand. Your grandfather planned this, he says. He knew Petro would strike. He knew you would need an ally strong enough to face him. Isabella's eyes sting. He turned my life into a chessboard. He did it to save you, Samuel says. A year passes faster than Isabella expects. On the anniversary of their marriage, Samuel takes her back to the same chapel, empty this time, no cameras, no lawyers. Just quiet light and their footsteps. Isabella stands where she stood before, in a dress she chose because she likes it, not because it proves anything. Samuel faces her, still scarred, still sharp, but softer in the places that matter. 1 year ago, he says. I told you not to fall in love with me. Isabella lifts an eyebrow. You were arrogant. I still am, Samuel says. Then he pulls a small box from his pocket. 1 year ago, this marriage was a condition, a punishment, a trap. He opens the box. A ring glints in the chapel light. Now, he says, voice unsteady in a way that makes Isabella's chest ache. I want it to be a choice, not a will, not a deal, not revenge. He takes her hand, and his thumb brushes the scar on her ring finger from the first ring, the one that felt like a shackle. Isabella Walker, he says. Marry me again, not because anyone demands it, because I love you. Isabella's breath catches. She thinks of her grandfather's last warning, and of his last gift. She thinks of the cage that became a weapon, and the weapon that became a door. She smiles, and it is real. Yes, she says. I choose you. Samuel slides the new ring onto her finger, gentle this time. Outside the chapel, New York waits, loud and endless. Isabella steps into it with Samuel at her side, not as an enemy, not as a tool, but as a partner. The will is fulfilled. The cage is gone. And the life ahead is theirs.
Thanks for watching. Follow for more romance stories.